Hello and welcome to The Experience Podcast. I am a multi-dimensional spiritual being that's having a human experience. I was told my name is Neal, and because I agreed to that and I accepted that, and other people call me by that name, apparently my name is Neal. And in this video, I want to speak about and communicate about facing our fear. And fear is false evidence appearing real. It doesn't exist. It's something that's made up. And just learning that is a huge perspective shift. And when we face our fear, there's some things that happen. There's a release that happens, a release of energy within yourself. There's something that actually, there's things in your brain itself, in your neuroplasticity, that becomes unlocked. It's like opening a doorway. And so it actually literally affects something in your neurofunction. And there's this thing where if you face your fear, you'll be able to just walk right through it. And there's an example of this in nature when you look at buffaloes. Buffaloes, they literally run directly into like, say if it's raining or if it's thundering, like a thunderstorm, they'll run directly into it. And there's a purpose for this, and the purpose is that they're out in the middle of the prairie with very little to no protection. And of course there will be fluctuations in landscape there. And so what's interesting is that they recognize that there's a storm and it's going one direction, and if they run directly into it, there's sunshine on the other side of that storm. And the fastest way through it is head on into it. And that is amazing. And there's also this thing of, okay, so when we actually do face our fear, how do we go about it? And so to be able to do it in a calm and a measured manner. And there's breath work, I found, is something that really plays a huge role in this. And just breathing really deeply and feeling, you're consciously breathing. And when you consciously breathe, you can put your attention to your breath, and you can ground yourself to your breath, and you can calm yourself utilizing your breath. And Kevin Gates spoke about this in a recent podcast that I was observing, and I'll link that podcast in the description. It's very incredible. And so what he was speaking about is connecting to the breath, and when you do that, it's really a feeling of gratitude. Just like, imagine if you stopped breathing right now. So there's this thing of, it's so vitally important for our function, and for just to be moving about and just literally not even moving, just sitting there. Your breath is very important for the well-being of your entire system. And many of the time we breathe unconsciously, and when you can consciously breathe and focus on your breath, you can actually slow it or speed it up. And according to how you're breathing, there's a feeling that goes with how when you breathe. So, like breathing slower, for example, can really calm your brain, your entire body, your cells. You can relax yourself by taking, like, say, for example, 10 deep breaths in a row. And so facing our fears, and there's this thing also, like when you run from a ghost, he's for sure going to chase you. Uh, but when you can, let's say, see a ghost and recognize him as such, and look at him and say, "I love you, buddy," and actually walk towards him, you'll walk straight through it. And that's this concept that I'm really speaking about. And another example that I can give is martial arts. And you can take the example of boxing here, or any form of fighting style. And I'm going to be speaking from a Jiu-Jitsu perspective, which is the one that I'm most familiar with. And when you engage with an opponent through the martial arts, it's very, when you actually move in towards your opponent, you are in a better position for to practically engage with the least amount of bodily harm to yourself. And the reason for that is, when, let's say, someone is throwing like a big haymaker, right here at the end of the lever is where all of the power is from the punch. But if you can step inside of that and say be here, so let's say he was aiming at your head here, and you step into the punch and you get hit here, it's there's way less force behind what is thrown. And what your mind is saying is back up and get away, and that can put your body in a position of greater potential damage, because you're now actually where the power is at. So through, initially, when you begin this practice of engaging, your mind will go like back up and like do that. But when you can observe that and consciously respond, see, we're not reacting, we're responding. When you can consciously respond and step into it, what you'll observe is that when that stepping in and that like looking what you fear in the eyes, that will lead to amazing, great outcomes for you and for people around you. And I want to invite you to, so let's say, for example, you're somebody that like most of the time you say no to things, and like I want to invite you to try saying yes, and find a balance there. And like on the flip side of that, if you're a yes person, if you say yes most of the time, like a lot of that is coming from a fear of not wanting to say no, and setting boundaries and saying, I actually don't even want to do this thing that I'm saying yes to. And that also requires a level of looking into yourself and finding out what is your yes. And so when you can observe what your yes is, the thing to say no to will be so much greater to say no to. It'll just be like, it'll just flow out, because you found your yes, you know what lane you're in, you know where you're going. So the no is saying, it's not a no. What the no is saying yes to yourself. It's saying yes to myself, and no to this thing that maybe doesn't serve my greatest potential. So being present and connecting with your breath, and really observing what your yes is, and from your yes you can face your fears head on because you found your yes. And I greatly appreciate you. I greatly appreciate your time. And check out my other YouTube channel. And this channel is by the name of Neal Miller. And so I no longer have Snapchat, so I've been beginning to upload more videos on my second channel. And the channel name is Neal Miller, and that will also be in the description. And so I invite you to go check that out and stay blessed, stay multi-dimensional, and continue infinitely experiencing. I love you.